Bidem say gumiti.
Ma memfa we ntwam we breaking news aba wonim say the Privileges Committee of Ghana's Parliament lay one report no at the plenary FR Honorable Ken Agyapong and wonim say ade Muntaka Mubarak at the Neko Privileges Committee in report na umulei at the plenary. We are told say Honorable Kennedy Agyapong apologize say on the plenary say offer parliament say a cheap house. Na he however insisted say enyade your case parliament useless but say cheap need your kaima opa ho chew na parliament and so adopted the option to reprimand him in the omuchi and omaka say he should go and sin no more. Right. Way any breaking news a free parliament ever. Obekaya committee in report na recommend either a reprimand and say parliament be suspended in the parliament amana pachew and afe choose the option of reprimanding him and he's been told to go and sin no more. We need the answer aka free the Parliament of Ghana.
So okay, Japan go and say no more. That's it. Yereba sa issue.
Opoku gakpo aba homane so me no enwe. Opoku akwa aba bibi aboko de.
Nyame adom bibi aboko na we.
Nyame adom ekoye. Inti mestre se bon tofama ene den na esi o Parliament efa Honorable Ken Agyapong.
In the Parliament debate, recommendations of Privileges Committee on Kennedy Agyapong matter no Obekaya committee back in July last year, but report named by main floor of approval. Now committee no came to the conclusion that Kennedy Agyapong use 2 words. Parliament is cheap, Parliament is useless. And the committee also indicated that in that regard they felt he had acted or said things which amounted to contempt of Parliament. And then there was a lot of back and forth. House debated that particular report for approval. There was an initial objection that was raised by a Futu MP, Alexander Fenyo-Markin. The procedure that was used in referring Kennedy Agyapong to the committee was wrong. There wasn't equity because, according to him, previously Muntaka Mubarak was referred to the Privileges Committee for producing fake documents in connection with the catch for seat scandal on the floor by the Speaker, which hadn't been heard. And so, in order for Kennedy Agyapong to be, for Kennedy Agyapong's case to be heard and him pronounced guilty of contempt, was out of place. Councillor already some additional objections, based on which he thought the conclusion by the committee was out of place. But the House moved on from there, following on the back and forth debate, and went on a few minutes ago to approve the report of the Privileges Committee that one Kennedy Agyapong is guilty of contempt. And then the House had to take a decision on what form of sanction should apply, whether a reprimand or a suspension. Eventually, the House approved the decision that he would be reprimanded, and the reprimand in this case is him being told by the Speaker to go and sin no more. And those were words that were earlier uttered by the majority leader of Chairman Saponsu. Indeed, Parliament had found Kennedy Agyapong guilty of contempt for using words like cheap and useless. Earlier in the day, he apologized to the House, but even in that, when he never said the House was useless. He said the House was cheap. But also the NTO said the House was cheap. Then there's another part that says, Parliament is cheaper. And NPP Vice Chairman or Ashanti region, Kobna Sinche, and describe it or not Kennedy Agyapong, Member of Parliament, in very derogatory words. No part that in the TV interview that he did, the interviewer stopped him along the way. He was unable to make his point in full. In the House now finding the guilty of contempt for saying the House is cheap and useless, and they've gone ahead to sanction him, and the sanction is a reprimand. And in that case, he's been asked to go and sin no more. Since then, no seeking some reaction. Muntaka Mubarak, our minority chief whip, our deputation, says he is disappointed in the decision of the House. He thinks that the apology Kennedy Agyapong uttered was half-hearted and insincere, and so at least the House should have given him like a 1-week suspension instead of the proposed 3 weeks. And so he is very, very disappointed, and he's not exactly happy with the final decision of the House.
And before say House nibe decide say yen reprimanding or no, because the options no were many. Say you be suspended, say you be reprimanding. No, was it put to a vote or move vote? You who answer?
It was put to a yes or no.
Oh no, okay.
So there was a bit about the House approving the report generally, which was put to a yes or no vote.
Okay.
And the yes had it that the report had been approved. And then the speaker was to put either the reprimand or the suspension to a vote as well. But he isolated it and said members who are in favor of him being made to go and sin no more, which he described as the reprimand, no, they should say yes. And then some said yes. Then those who say no, some said no. And he said the ayes have it. The ayes who are voting for reprimand, no, have it. So then the reprimand was taken, position as in the final decision. Then none of minority MPs, maybe, for example, Ben Kodo, the speaker shouldn't have just gone for a yes or no vote, but a division which would allow for a real casting of votes as to whether MPs accept the option of just a simple reprimand, which the speaker didn't do, for which Ben Kodo, MP for whole central things, speaker no, handle the matter as well as it should have been handled. But in parliamentary terms, it was put to a vote because there was a yes or no, and the speaker came to the conclusion that those who said yes, as in favor of a reprimand, had it, which is how come the House adopted the particular decision.
Enti omuwie no wetimini honorable Kennedy Agyapong edi nkomo.
Working out of the chamber, and also he has made his point right on the floor of Parliament. But his lawyer, Katie Hammond, and also MP Father Sokwana and Menena Kasa, for him, despite the concerns of Muntaka Mubarak, the issue has been laid to rest. Parliament has come to a decision. So everyone should let sleeping dogs lie and move forward, he says.
Joseph Opoku Gakpo. My nurse na yem fine right that's papa into Joseph Opoku Gakpo ni yeten and canon ye parliamentary correspondent and motis yaneno AD and commented the decision from Parliament, and it's Honorable Kennedy Agyapong has been found guilty of you know kind of saying nam fa Parliament ne how and some more kafa Parliament once a Parliament a useless Parliament a cheap Parliament a vote adopt a report of the Privileges Committee, and we take a decision to sanction him. Now sanction on the man no and a reprimand they say omochi nenim akacho say onko ne mane nkonko ye bone ebio. Now the other option they say committee no recommend they say yen suspending for 3 weeks by Parliament echo for the option of the reprimand and also committee a proposal into two sanctions, either a reprimand or a suspension. Parliament echo for reprimand etwin anim say onko emanenye bonibi. But before that omo ne pacho at the plenary say enya dia the okan ye. Into that's where we are on this Kennedy Agyapong issue. 14 minutes after 4. Ekosi saying live on Asempa FM. Messages bebre na eba na on Facebook no